decided to make our long plan for trip to Ireland. A year before that, my daughter had subscribed to Island of the Welcomes for me. My husband Luke and I had read the magazine from cover to cover. Then we would talk it over and decide which of the places in this month's magazine we wanted to visit. Having been born in Ireland, Luke had of course been to many of the places and was looking forward to being there again. With me it was different. I had never been to Ireland, so everything would be new to me. But there was one place I wanted to visit. I had wanted to go there since I was a very little girl. It was my mother's home, the place she had spent her childhood. I wanted to see the fields she had played in, the short walk to her cousins, the Brennans' house, but most of all, the iron gate set in a stone wall that she had swung on for the last time when she was 9 years old. My dad was a railroader and worked nights, and after he had gone to work, Mother would put us two girls in bed and then get in with us, and the story we both wanted most was the one about the iron gate. Of course the gate would not be there after 84 years, nor would the wall nor the cottage for that matter, but if I could find the approximate spot and stand there and look up the hill, it would satisfy me. I could not find the address or even the name of the village in any of Mother's papers. But there was a cousin on Long Island who could tell Luke just where it was and how to get there. And then, before I got around to calling Jim, he had died. Just before leaving the States, I called Jim's widow, Mame. All Mame could remember was that when the brothers got together for a glass of beer, they always tasted Glenamaty and the good time we had there. With only that and a family name, we started for Ireland. That and Luke's. Don't worry, Mom. We'll find it. As the St. Bridget neared Ireland, I began to worry. What if nobody could get off to meet us? Or if it was a niece or a nephew I had never met. I almost prayed it would be Luke's sister Mary. I'd met Mary when she visited us in the States, and we had become very good friends. But Luke had 4 brothers, 4 sister-in-laws, and up-teen nieces and nephews. I told Luke how I felt, and he just laughed. Mom, he said, relax. They are all Irish. And that they were. We collected our bags, went through customs, and then out the door. Mary had her arms around us before I had even seen her. After that, I was being welcomed by brothers and sisters-in-law, and, yes, most of the up-team nieces and nephews. That welcome is something I will always remember. After a few days in Dublin, we set out in a rented car to find Mother's home. Mother had also told us stories of Salt Hill and how beautiful it was, so we decided to start there. We went cross-country to Galway, and the countryside was lovely. Salt Hill is beautiful, and our hotel room looked out on Galway Bay. Luke had to talk me away from the window next morning and downstairs to breakfast. 2 days later, we started again, this time headed for Glenamaty. We had lunch at the Hermitage in Tuam, T-U-A-M, and then continued on to Glenamaty. Glenamaty is a lovely place, wide streets, lovely buildings, but I knew this small village that Mother came from could not have grown that much. Disappointed but determined to at least try, we stopped at a convent. Did Sister have any Gavin children in the school? No, they did not. But come in, we did have a Gavin boy who finished here. Maybe I can get the address for you. After a half-hour search of the books and questioning the other nuns, during which time we were taken on a tour of the truly beautiful convent and chapel, Sister told us the Gavin boy had come from up in the hills. She suggested we ride out that way and then start asking. She was sure someone could help us. Our next stop was at a small country store. I explained to the owner what I was looking for. She directed us to the home of the young man Sister had mentioned, but said there was no one home there. They were working. There would be no one there till evening. We left the store and started down the road, not quite sure where to go next, when my husband noticed a young man waving and running after us. When we stopped, he asked if we would please come back to the store. His mother might be able to help us. On entering the store, we were introduced to a lady who had just come in, whom the store owner told us had been to New York several times and might be able to help us. Well, we just left New York and we were lost, but I could not see that would help any. But at this point, we were ready to try anything. After explaining what I was looking for, she asked my mother's name. Did Mother have any brothers who had lived in New York, and if so, what part of New York? I answered yes, she had a brother, Dominic, who lived in the Bronx. Then who did Dominic marry? It took me a full minute to remember Aunt Delia's maiden name. But just as I was about to admit I did not know, it came to me. It was Delia Henry. That did it. Well, she said, I visited my cousin Delia in the Bronx 3 times. Just wanted to be sure I was sending you to the right Gavins. You'll want to continue out this road. Then ask for Maggie Ward. She was Maggie Gavin. A little over a mile out that road, we stopped at another cottage and inquired again, but this time for Mrs. Ward. It was always the same. A sincere wish to help. The gentleman came out on the road, told us to continue on that road and to pass the village, and then counted to himself the number of houses on our left till we came to the Wards. The rest was easy. I was too excited to notice the gate, just rushed to the door and knocked. A very nice lady opened the door, and I asked, Mrs. Ward, Mrs. Maggie Ward? No, I do not know any Maggie Ward. I am Sarah Ann Ward. I think my face must have showed how disappointed I felt, for she asked if perhaps she could help us. Who was this Maggie? I told her about stopping at the store and how I had been directed here. You see, I said, I am trying to find someone who knew the Gavin family. My mother was a Gavin. The Gavin family, she asked. And who was your mother? After telling her that my mother was Maggie Gavin, that her father died when she was 9, and her brother and his bride came to take charge of her and the cottage, she answered, then you must be Nellie Alford. Do come in and visit. I had not only found a Gavin, I had found a first cousin I had not known about. I told her about how I was trying to find Mother's home. Did she know where Mother had been born? Yes, right here in this kitchen. I walked to the window. The iron gate was standing open. That gate, I said. It would not be the same one. I was talking more to myself when she answered, oh, why not? Sure, these things last forever. I don't even remember it ever being mended. I have made 2 more trips to Ireland since, and I hope to get there again. But I'll never forget the country and the courtesy and the helpfulness of the people we met, and the friends we made. But then, as Luke said when we were getting off the plane, they were all Irish. Hi, honey. I guess, as you know, I had this written down. I must have started a little too early on it because you didn't get. We were at last. How did it start, anyhow? I'll have to look. Oh, we had decided to make our long-planned trip. I think that was cut off. And that's about all. How are you and what's new and things like that. Oh, yes. I spelled T-U-A-M for you because I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it properly. And Glenomady is Glenommaddy, just the way it's pronounced, but those towns are something to spell. Salt Hill is S-A-L-T. I guess you remember that, huh? Yeah, well, that's about it. We did have a lot of fun, and I wrote it in first place because, well, that's the only way I could think of it. You'll notice I mentioned in the story that man didn't swing on the gate. after she was 9 years of age. Well, I don't think you want to use that, but in case you did, what happened, she probably told you the story, too. But when she was 9 years old, her dad died, and it was a very large funeral. I think I heard Dad coming in, and I'll stop it a minute.
After listening to this tape, honey, I feel as though I just come back from Ireland. And gee, how nice it was to visit Killarney, beautiful places in Wicklow, Ballybunion in the County Kerry, and all the nice places we did visit. We really had a wonderful time. And please God, we'll make it again, and we would like to have you with us. Goodbye now, honey, and I hope this means something to you. So long.
Hi, honey. I think I told you I wrote it in the first person because that's about the best, easiest way. And I think I got in all you wanted. Oh, we were talking about Nana's funeral when Daddy came in. Well, Nan had a game she played. She'd swing on the gate, and she'd relive a very pleasant experience, like the visit to Salt Hill. And looking up the hill, she'd see she and her dad riding to the vacation spot, and or maybe to a party or a fair, and she had a big deal with it. Well, of course, when her dad died, she didn't quite understand what had happened. And when they wouldn't let her go to the funeral, she decided she'd swing on the gate and have it in her memory and live it over as often as she wanted to. So she got on the gate and she watched the hearse pull away, and afterwards, the people who were going to the funeral, most of them on horseback, a few of them walking, and it went very slowly, and she swung back and forth and really felt very good watching it, and figured, now I'll have another game to play, until it got to the top of the hill. And then the hearse went over the top of the hill and down the dip. And then she knew they'd taken her father away, and she wouldn't see him again. And, well, she never swung on the gate, or she never played her game again. She used to tell us that she ran to the back of the house and threw herself on a mound of hay and cried. And when she had stopped crying and brushed herself off and went back to the house, she used to say, I was no longer a little girl. I was a woman of 9 years. I don't think you want that in a funny story, but anyhow, you should know what it's all about. And now I guess I'll say goodbye, darling, and good luck and such. Amen.